Hey guys, Cooper here, Diesel Power Products. Just doing a walk around on our 2016 Ram 3500 MegaCab, affectionately known as the NOMAD 2XL because it is a MegaCab, it is big, and it does have 40-inch tires. So a lot of people would ask us, why would you build a multi-purpose work play truck with 40-inch tires? And all I would say to you is, why not? I mean, they make them, let's use them. They made the 40-15-50 R20 in that sizing specifically so that the load rating capabilities would be better matched to bigger, heavier trucks. The KMC 20-inch wheel is definitely strong enough for this. And what I like about it is it gives us more ground clearance without having to jack the truck way up to the moon, making it unusable. We like our steering to feel factory or better. We like that center of gravity to feel low, so if we ever get off camber, we feel nice and stable. And I know that this tire combo is gonna get whatever work we need done towing. I've towed 38-foot trailer, gooseneck trailer, all over this country with rigs all over it and had no issues with them ever. So, supremely confident in this overall build. And that 40-inch tire, hey, it's the new 35. If you ain't got them, you want them. Under the hood, well, we can't leave anything alone. So you know we needed to squeeze as many horse ponies as we could out of this bad mama jamma. Contacted our friends at BD Power, got one of their Screamer drop-in replacement VGT turbos. That ups the CFM of air that it moves. And because of that, we decided, let's pull the injectors out. Let's balance them out. Had our friends at Dynamite Diesel do a set of their Eco Greens, balanced perfectly. It makes this thing idle super smooth, and it's actually a little bit quieter as well too. To make sure we handle all those cylinder pressures from the up in air and fuel, we went ahead and threw a set of ARP head studs in it. Whoo, make sure we're cleaning all the air out there and doing our part for the environment. We contacted our friends at S&B Filters and got the absolute best cold air intake system that we could get for this vehicle. To make up for the extra air and fuel we're throwing at it, we wanted to make sure we got all the ponies we could. We threw an Edge Juice with attitude at it. It's got the CTS2 monitor, lets us see all the engine vitals. We can adjust power on the fly, and we could totally get it. We beat all the Fords up the hill. They're totally lame. And the Duramaxes, they're... So we went a little bit mild with this engine compartment because we are running the factory Aisin trans. We want to give it a fighting chance. There is no, as you know, support for those trannies. And this is a good, mild, usable power upgrade between the turbo, injectors, and tuning so that this truck can get any job we throw at it done with ease. Now, we're big proponents of gearing here because we don't like to leave any power on the table. We like it all to be usable, so we wanted to give ourselves a little mechanical advantage with these 40-inch tires. We went with a set of 488 nitro gears, front and rear. Out back, we're running a Detroit locker, so power is pretty much flawless whenever we want. It will end up auto-locking in on the tire that's slipping and keeps us putting all that power to the ground. Up front, we went with a selectable ARB air locker, make things real simple, and that way we aren't making it strain on the steering at all when we don't need the front. So rounding out that front axle to make it as beefy as possible, we threw a set of Dynatrac ball joints on it and then rounded it out with the Dynatrac free spin kit. The nice thing about that is the factory unit bearings, they're kind of weak. They don't hold up very well to the 40-inch tires, and they are always spinning. So even when you click that knob into two-wheel drive, the front end is always moving. That free spin kit frees up some miles per gallon by allowing the front end to be completely disengaged. Those hubs will end up disengaging the tire itself from the axle shaft, so everything spins freely and independently, freeing up a little bit of resistance, we'll call it parasitic loss, for better fuel mileage. The things that I think are really cool about this suspension setup is that we were able to relocate that front axle 1.6 inches forward, but instead of using the relocation spacer that moves the coil mounts up and back. We hacked the lower coil spring mount off of the axle and physically moved it back, refabricated the mount setup so we could run a set of Carli coils in the front. They're a 3-inch lift coil. We knew we didn't want to go any higher. That's what the AEV kit calls for, but we wanted to improve the ride quality by giving it a better spring rate. Got those in there, got the King 2.5 shocks, and the front end is absolute butter. Out back, we've got the factory auto level rear air, which is really nice if you're hooking up to multiple loads and use this truck for work, because it will compensate for whatever weight you end up throwing on it on its own. You don't have to deal with airbag pressures, nothing else. Really slick feature. And Dodge did a really cool job of making it all a closed system. So it's got its own recovery tank and air tank and compressor. It's not open to the atmosphere. That way you don't have any issues with condensation or anything else. Pretty slick. Where they kind of went wrong is that they made the leaf springs on it that locate that rear axle in place out of some really thick material. That doesn't help out too well for ride quality, and the axle wrap on it was surprisingly really weird, so you'd get a lot of chatter out of the rear end. Carli saw the need for some upgrades, and they went ahead and developed a full leaf pack for it that's a light enough spring rate that your bags aren't going to add any unneeded pressure so that you end up killing the ride quality, but they take away the axle wrap and they give you that nice soft supple ride that you would expect from an air ride rear suspension. And to round that out, we've got the 2.5-inch King shots, and this thing is absolutely smooth as silk driving down the road. Between the suspension and the 40-inch tires, throwing their secondary suspension at it and adjusting the tire pressures accordingly, this thing is super comfy. No matter how long the trip is, you don't want it to be over. For looks, well, we wanted to give it that beefy, meaty stance. We knew we didn't want to go any higher than we had to fit the 40-inch tire, but hey, a 40-inch tire is a 40-inch tire. It is big. It takes up a lot of space. And when you start articulating it out, you need lots of room for that tire to be able to move around. So because of that, we did the AEV XL flares on this thing. Ended up, they're HIGHMARK flares. Had to cut out the factory fenders and the factory bedsides about 3 inches to give us the room that we needed to run this big tire and give it all the room that it needed to articulate. They tie in quite nicely with the AEV Front Bumper, which is super, super sucked in, sleek looking. And this one in particular reuses the factory fog lights and gives us a location for Warren 16.5 Ti S winch. They're big boy. That's 16,500 pounds. This sucker will get you out of any situation you need. For the rest of the looks, we got a set of Baja Designs XL80s up top and a spot beam on a set of Z-Road hood mount brackets, and then a Truxedo rollover truck bed cover for the Ram box. The purpose of this truck build was so that we could have something in the stable that we could always count on being ready to go. It gets to go out on the trail, but it doesn't do the hardcore stuff. It gets to tow everything, whether it's the biggest stuff or the lightest stuff, and it hauls everyone that you could possibly want along with you. This truck is really the Swiss Army knife of trucks in our fleet. We got the gooseneck hitch in it. We can hook up to the gooseneck trailer, throw howitzer, one of the Jeeps, whatever else we want on it. This thing will not care. It just gets you to the destination in comfort. This truck has been a blast to build and even more fun to use. If you see any parts that you like, or you have your own NOMAD 2XL build that you have questions on, give us a call or contact us at dieselpowerproducts.com.